Virgin guy reluctantly agrees to participate in roommate's planned orgy, unsure whether to feel excited or nervous about the whole experience. My roommate, 22F, who I've been sharing an apartment with for the past 6 months, approached me a few weeks ago to discuss the possibility of hosting an orgy. I can imagine most people in my situation being surprised or disturbed or whatever if their roommate asked for permission to allow random people to have sex in their personal space. I was not too surprised or disturbed because 6 months has been more than enough time for me to realize that my roommate is an extremely sexual person and she's not shy about showing it. I'm a virgin. My roommate is aware of that, and even though from time to time she teases me about it, she's never made me feel bad and always seemed proud of me for being so chilled about sex. Back to the orgy. My roommate asked if it was okay if the orgy could happen at our apartment. She said 7 people were expected to participate, all friends, and she would be the 8th. She answered all of my questions regarding the logistics and promised to leave the place spotless when it was over. To be honest, I didn't really care as long as no one did anything in my room or touched my gaming console. My roommate was over the moon when I said yes. I arranged to sleep at my mom's house on the night of the orgy to avoid any awkwardness, which made my roommate feel somewhat guilty for kicking me out, but I encouraged her to focus on the fucking because I'll be focusing on my mom's good cooking lol. A few days after that conversation my roommate asked if I was interested in taking part in the orgy. I said if this was about me staying at my mom's house for one night, she really shouldn't feel bad. My roommate said it's not only about that, but also about hospitality. She said the group agreed that I was more than welcome to join if I wanted. I laughed and said, thanks but no thanks. My roommate advised me to think Abu Kiyat and said I should keep in mind that a virgin guy would be very hot for the group and I would most likely receive special treatment. She also added that before I made a final decision, I should forget what I've seen in movies or porn and therefore should not be expecting everyone to have 10 tense bodies. I said I would think about it. The orgy is happening tonight. I eventually agreed to participate. It wasn't a quick decision. I did have time. It's been weeks of talking. I've been added to the orgy group chat. Everyone in the group has been welcoming and open to answering my questions. A big topic of discussion was boundaries. At one point it felt like I was doing an AMA because everyone was asking me what I was comfortable/uncomfortable with. Not gonna lie, I'm getting more and more overwhelmed and I'm beginning to stress out. As helpful and supportive as my roommate and the others have been, I need to ask all of you to weigh in. A 22-year-old virgin in an orgy. Should I be excited or should I be nervous? Update 1: It's close to midnight on my side of the planet. What a night. By the time I've added this update, the orgy would have been over for less than 2 hours. I helped my roommate set up the space in the apartment we were all gonna use for sex. She made sure there were condoms, scented candles, lube, towels, water, etc. I hardly recognized the place when she was done with it. During number 3 my roommate was running me through the process one-on-one for the final time and once again made sure I understood that I should never feel pressured to perform anything or to please anyone regardless of prior agreements. The group arrived sometime afterwards. All of us socialized at first. I learned a lot about the group. Everyone was friendly and interested to know how I was feeling. I realized very quickly that I was attracted to one of the girls in the group more than the others, but none of them were bad looking. Once the socializing was out of the way, my roommate explained what the rules and the safe words were before formally introducing me to the group and reminding everyone that I skipped my mom's cooking to be there so I needed to be treated with extra care and appreciation lol. So much was discussed before anything sexual happened. Most of it was information everyone already knew based on previous discussions. But some of it was new to me like the conversational sex option, which basically meant you could have a sexual conversation with one or more people who had no desire to have sex yet, but don't mind saying filthy things to one another to get them in the mood. Boundaries were discussed. Questions were answered. Challenges in the past were addressed. It was a proper meeting. My legs were fucking shaking when that meeting eventually came to an end. 11. My roommate gave everyone the green light to proceed and she wasted no time taking me under wing. My roommate and I were sitting on the couch while the others were beginning to touch and kiss one another. She was holding my hand and telling me how nice I smelled. I said, thank you and returned the compliment. We continued complimenting each other until we were both comfortable enough to kiss. I can't tell you how long we kissed, but when my roommate and I were no longer locking lips, I noticed some of the other people were wearing a lot less. This might sound weird, but seeing naked bodies on full display like that became uncomfortable and overwhelming. I told my roommate how I was feeling and she asked me to follow her to the balcony to get some fresh air and for a change of scenery. During my time on the balcony, the girl who I was most attracted to in the group, before I kissed my roommate at least, decided to join my roommate and I on the balcony and find out how I was doing. Her hair was shorter than mine, but it was hot. The 3 of us talked for a few minutes before I said I was willing to continue. Short-haired girl P performed oral on me when I finally managed to get hard. I never came. My nerves got the best of me. I apologized to the group and said I would feel much better if I could go to my room because I'm struggling to relax. I made it clear to all of them that they did nothing wrong, but it just wasn't for me, at least not for now. Everyone was really understanding and wished me good night. I've been in my room ever since. The apartment is quiet now. I have no idea how many people have gone home and how many are sleeping over, but I'm sure I'll find out in the morning. Not the best ending, but I have no regrets. I'm sure I'll lose my virginity when the time comes. Anyway, the end. I'm going to try and get some sleep now. Thank you all for the advice. A couple of nights ago my GF was supposed to meet my friends. I've been delaying the process for months because I knew I had to have an uncomfortable conversation first. I met my friends at an orgy. My roommate at the time asked for my permission to host an orgy at our flat. I said yes, as long as my room and my belongings were off limits and the flat was cleaned properly afterwards. My plan was to spend the night at my mom's house and be out of everyone's way during the orgy, but my roommate encouraged me to stay and participate. I was still a virgin back then. The thought of sleeping with one person was overwhelming enough, let alone a group of people. However, my roommate eventually convinced me to take part. I was added to a group chat with all the people who were going to be involved in the orgy. All of them made me feel really comfortable. That being said, when the orgy finally happened, I was unable to have sex with anyone. My anxiety won. Everyone was understanding though. Life went on. My roommate became my ex-roommate after a few months, but we never stopped being friends. The connections I made with the people at the orgy also developed into friendships. We're still friends now. My GF didn't know my history with them until earlier this week when I finally had the courage to explain the orgy story. She was shocked and disturbed and asked if I lied to her about being a virgin when we met. I said no. She struggled to believe that a virgin guy would walk away from an orgy with his virginity still intact. My GF made it clear that she was no longer interested in meeting my friends. She said she didn't know how she could be in a relationship with someone who was friends with people who shared him. I asked my GF if she was breaking up with me and she said she was going to need some time to decide what to do. Last night she decided. Our relationship is over. TLDR, I told my GF that I met my friends at an orgy. That was all she needed to hear to break up with me. Edit, I never had sex at the orgy, but I did end up kissing my roommate and another girl did go down on me. I didn't leave out that information to make my GF look like the villain, at least not intentionally. This is my fuck up after all. I should have provided a link to my previous post that explained everything or included the kiss and the BJ when I initially posted on this sub. It's understandable that my GF is uncomfortable with my past because my past is still part of my present due to the friends I have. Update 2: My mom and dad invited me to have dinner at their house a few nights ago. I was planning to inform them about my breakup during dinner, but I realized it was too late when I showed up at the house. My parents were already informed. The dinner invitation was a smokescreen to confront me about the details. My ex-GF apparently broke the news to my mom and dad soon after our relationship came to an end. My parents knew about the orgy, the friends I made at the orgy, and why my GF no longer wanted anything to do with me. It was an ambush. Or an intervention. I don't know. But it was awkward. My mom wanted me to make her believe that my ex-GF lied and that I never participated in group sex. I confirmed at my ex-GF said was true. My mom looked disturbed and asked if I got tested. I assured her that I was clean and that it's almost been a year since the orgy. My dad looked equally disturbed and asked if I was really friends with people who openly shared their bodies like that. I said yes and described them as good friends. I even told my dad that one of my friends who openly shared her body also openly shared her homemade lasagna that my dad enjoyed eating when he was sick. I asked my mom if she remembered the DJ with the tattoos that stepped in at the last minute at my sister's wedding because the original DJ dropped out. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she remembered that DJ playing some of her favorite golden oldies like Flashdance. What a Feeling and Stand By Me. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she could guess how it came to be that I knew that DJ. My mom said oh. I told my parents not to worry about me and advised them to avoid communicating with my ex-GF because whatever was happening between us, was between us. Towards the end of the dinner, my mom and dad knew a lot more about my orgy friends and seemed less uncomfortable. I think once the shock of me being involved in an orgy fades away, my parents might be keen to meet my friends one day. Hopefully the day never comes though lol. TLDR, my ex-GF informed my parents about the orgy to complicate my life, which prompted my mom and dad to confront me, but I managed to shift their focus from the orgy to the friends I made at the orgy, and now I think my parents might want to meet them at some point. Update 3: My GF scrolled through my Instagram a couple of days ago and came across an old photo of my ex. I thought I erased all the evidence of my ex, but apparently my digital deep clean was not deep enough. My GF commented on how attractive my ex was and asked why our relationship came to an end. I said she didn't like my friends. I wanted to change the topic, but my GF wanted me to explain why my ex didn't like my friends. I sighed and said my ex never met my friends, she just hated the origin story of how I became friends with them. I explained to my GF the same thing I explained to my ex, which was that my friends were people I met at an orgy almost 2 years ago. I said I was a virgin back then and my roommate at the time hosted the orgy at our apartment. My plan was to avoid the orgy and keep my distance until it was safe to return, but my roommate convinced me to take part. I was too nervous to go all the way, but I managed to get a BJ out of the experience and a group of good friends. My GF digested that information and asked if my ex dumped me because I became friends with the people who wanted to sleep with me. I said yes. My GF said she would never break up with someone because of something like that. I said that was a relief because for a moment there I was afraid history would repeat itself. My GF said she fucked her friends too. I almost choked on my coffee. My GF proceeded to show me photos of said friends on her phone. Her commentary boiled down to fucked him too, even fucked her, fucked both of them together, never fucking him again, kind of fucked him the most. You get the picture. My GF kissed me and said she was happy that I was as close to my friends as she was. I've literally been having nightmares of my GF showing me those photos, but the photos never end and her commentary becomes more and more descriptive and disturbing. I don't know what's worse, my ex-GF leaving me because I had one sexual encounter with my friends or my new GF staying with me and being totally transparent to the point of traumatic about sleeping with all of her friends. TLDR, my GF came across an old photo of my ex and wanted to know why we broke up. I said my ex left me when I informed her that I met my friends at an orgy. An orgy I was too nervous to fully take part in. Oral sex was all I got. My GF said she would never break you with me because of something like that, and to prove it, she showed me an almost endless collection of photos of her friends and pointed out who she fucked, who she never wanted to fuck again, who she fucked the most, etc. I fucking died inside.